Oh man, it's just piece by piece, and it's the consistency of the work, which I feel like a lot of parents are missing today because we're not teaching that to our kids. We tend to say like kids don't want to do the work, but in reality, it's when we're failing them because we're not leading them the right way and teaching them, how to fish. You know what I mean? And so like the consistency of work, Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time. Not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I think it was Bill Gates who was talking about that. He talks about how like we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
No doubt.
Right? Like it's like that,
No doubt.
Like I think everyone thinks about it, like what can I do right now? Like how can I make it happen? But like with you, I think people always ask you also like, how do you deal with losing or failure? What I'm intrigued by is how someone like you deals with winning. Because you've won again and again. And like I was saying earlier, you won, obviously we know you won in basketball big as an athlete, but you're winning now, even in the work you're doing here as a storyteller, as a producer, right? It's amazing to see so many incredible awards coming through. How have you dealt with winning? Like when you win, what goes through your mind to help you to continue?
Well, it's a little different. Like in basketball, it was different because I expected to win, Like I expected us to win championships. I expected us to win 5. Quite honestly, I expected us to win 8. And so when you have that vision in sports, it's a direct competition. Like I know how hard they're working. I know how hard we're working. I know what their strategy is. I know what ours is, So it's a little different. So when we win in the NBA, it was like, we expected to do that. But now we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, And so it's that constant like, all right, you're churning. You win one championship, I'm back in the gym the next day, working, getting ready for the next one. Now, it's different because it's not about the awards. You just wind up trying to create something that's going to inspire someone that hopefully, through that inspiration, they can inspire somebody else. And what I've come to learn as my career went on is that's more significant than any championship. Is how do you connect with somebody that can then connect with another? And then with whether the awards come or not, that's for the Academy Award body to decide. But like for us, it's just to try to create things.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that's what shifted. That now the intention isn't even expecting to win; it's expecting to change lives.
Right.
Right. Like your content is really about making a difference and an impact on young people's lives.
Sure.
Which I think is like the biggest way of winning.
I think so. I mean, we're looking at 62% of young children are dropping out of sports. 62%. And they cite the fact that it's not fun anymore. Well, what does that tell them? I mean, that's telling us as grown-ups are getting in the way. Get out the way. Let these kids be imaginative, which, like in our stories, it's important that, there's a fantasy nature to it, right? But it's rooted in reality, right? When we have fire-breathing winged horses and things of that nature, those are actual drills that are taking place. We don't have fire-breathing winged horses actually performing that, but we do have ball machines that are spitting balls at tennis players, right? And so all of our stories are all anchored in an element of truth, so that children feel like when they are doing these drills with these ball machines, they can envision maybe it's a fire-breathing winged horse.
To keep them excited.
Yeah, they can envision Gus throwing fireballs at them.
Yeah.
And even the plays, like when the Wizenard series, when the basket is opening up and shrinking, these are things that we experience as athletes. Like some days I feel like I can't make a shot, man, and the basket feels like the size of a keyhole. And other days it looks like a swimming pool. That's magic. And so we root our magic in reality so that when kids experience these things, particularly the failure side of it, they can connect it to one of our stories and say, okay, I've seen this before. I know how to do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I love that analogy of like feeling the basket bigger or smaller. And I'd be able to vision that. I can vision it right now. And like, you're so right. Like some days it looks huge. And I love that. That's such a great way of thinking about it. And I guess so much of this is from your real life vision.
Oh, yeah.
This is like some days.
I've experienced it.
Yeah. But I love that because it's also giving them the permission to say like, be imaginative about this, right?
Yes.
And that obviously gives so much. I think when we imagine, it changes the reality of, I'm just sitting out here taking shots.
Yes.
Right? Which can get boring and tiring.
It becomes mechanical.
Mechanical, that's the right word.
Mechanical. Yeah. Like our job is to try to inspire the creativity inside of our children so that they can think through how to problem solve situations. So like, when I coach my daughter's team, it's not about giving them answers. It's about asking them questions and getting them to process things, right? When the game is being played, I'm not sitting there giving them answers or barking out things on the sideline. I sit down and I'm quiet. My assistant coach sits there and she's quiet. And the kids figure things out for themselves, or they don't. And then they come back and there's always questions. And then you kind of ask them more questions and you help them figure it out. But then you see their level of excitement to practice every day increase because it's a process that they are owning, right? They're not coming to get orders barked at them every day. They're coming for kind of their personal quest to get better.
It seems like you study life a lot, right? Like when you're talking about all of this imagination which stems from your own work, like for example, like when you're dealing with empathy and compassion, it's reflected in the content. When you're going through these visualizations of what could this look like, it goes in the content. You study life a lot. What currently are you studying and what kind of gets your imagination really growing right now? Like what keeps that moving for you?
There's a certain element of truth in everything, and the creativity generally comes from personal experiences first, and then you kind of look on a broader scope of, okay, how do you take something extremely personal and then channel it in a way for masses to understand or get their arms around, sort of thing. But it always starts in the element of truth, and then you start unpacking that by sitting in thought and figuring out like character and who is this person and who's his family, and then that's when I start getting in trouble. Because it's like the questions don't end. Yeah. So I have like books and 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 books of backstory, because it's not good enough just to say the character's this way.
Yeah.
Why are they that way?
Yes.
Well, the parents. Well, where do the parents come from? And where's the dad come from? Why are they raising a kid this way? And then, what does it have to do with the economy that's around them? And just one thing leads to the next, and then you're just writing all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I think so many of us get, in our lives, we get stuck with imagination because you kind of get into that autopilot mode.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing every day, same routine, same drive to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel that what you're sharing is, that's easy for anyone to do. It's not like, because you're Kobe Bryant, you don't feel that. Everyone gets into that.
Sure.
You're able to find these creative outlets.
Yeah, well, like creativity is in everything, like even in consistent, like what I found is creativity a lot of time comes from structure.
I agree. I'm so glad you said
that.
Like
you have those parameters and the structure, then within that you can be creative. But like if you don't have the structure, you're just aimlessly doing stuff. You're just where are you going? So like having a clear structure of understanding, okay, this morning I'm gonna, like when I was writing a Wizard Art series and outlining Legacy, I come in the morning, 7 a.m. and I'm there. I'm writing backstory from 7 to 12. Then I go pick up my kids, and then I come right back and I'm writing again. So like within that structure, my mind when I go to sleep is already like planning of what the next day is going to be, because I know, what it is I have to do. It's that consistency and structure.
What I'm hearing about is your obsession and obsessiveness with stories.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, I'm sharing this, it's like you've really studied stories, like you've really broken them down and understood it. Tell me about where that obsession comes from in general, like how you find obsessiveness and how you've applied that to story.
Yeah, obsessiveness just comes from something that you love. Like you really love it, you'll go through fire for it. You'll go through the ups and downs with it, and you'll just keep at it because you love it so much. And story for me started a long time ago. I had a great English teacher at Lower Merion High School named Jane Mastriano, and she explained to me the art of storytelling my sophomore year. And that's where I started falling in love with it and understanding story structure, how to develop compelling characters, and how stories are the driving force, whether they're inspirational or informational, that really change society.
Because not everyone's going to believe in you.
Certainly not. Certainly not. And what you'll see is, once you start doing it, and now people want to come and jump in, but I'm like, you kind of forced us to go about this ourselves. So I think we're just going to build it from the ground up ourselves. But thank you.
Exactly. They saved you.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Because if you had signed on, we just be kind of going with the flow.
Totally. You can be grateful to that.
Yeah. I think the important thing is research. In the hall here in the office, I have a hall that I call Muse Hall. We have all the portraits of some of our muses here, from J.K. Rowling to Steve Jobs and so forth and so on. And I think it's important to research them, and it's like putting fuel in the fire every day. There's constant inspiration when you read about them, what they were able to accomplish, how they went about accomplishing it. It's just constantly feeding that flame and learning. And the best way to do that is to learn from the people who have done it.